Welcome back to Trading Levels with Alighten. In the last episode, I did a walkthrough on how to set up the mirror indicator for trading the new signals, well, the old signals, but on a single chart. So just to recap real quick, we've got the volume profile, which is the volume profile of the previous 1 hour window. We've got all of the signals from all of the different time frames, 30 minute, 10 minute, 5 minute, so on. Um, and we also have the 60-minute trend start up and trend start down. So these are based on the pivots from the original indicators, but you can see this blue line here, this cyan line, was the start of a trend up, so we call it a trend start up. It wasn't truly a trend start up until the close of this green bar, but that's when the pivot low was identified, and that's when this became the trend start. So this is a trend start up 1. And if it closes below that trend start up 1, at some point, that trend start up will become a trend start 2, trend start up 2. So that's how those work. Besides that, what I'm really looking for are these clusters of like stacked signals from multiple time frames, usually with a smaller one crossing a larger one. For whatever reason, that seems to be um, to be the most likely to succeed. You can see we've got a 10-minute crossing a 30-minute, and then I'm looking for those in particular. I really like those at these value area high so like a long at a value area high or a short at a value area low. And we've had some really good ones. So this one obviously was a 300 tick banger. I caught some of that. Um, I put my target at the I think I put it right at the VWAP just above it, which was obviously a mistake, but take the wins. And then we had this one down here, which was really good, although it was really choppy and the market was really thin right there. We had an interesting case at this 1 hour in this 1 hour zone right here, where the bias, which is defined by the volume profile of that previous 1 hour window, the bias here was 0, which means the uh, the the price actually this 1 hour bar closed exactly at the POC. So I haven't seen that before, but I guess that happens because the bias here was 0, which means we got both long signals and short signals. So that's something I hadn't. I mean, I coded it to have that available, but I didn't expect to see it. But it literally closed exactly at the POC. Um, so maybe something to think about is whether or not you want to take a long or a short, or in those scenarios, maybe since we were heading up, maybe we just look long when the bias is 0 and you're getting both short and long signals. Caught a little bit of a trade here, but let's see. So this one was a really good one. This one was a really good one. This one was a really good one. This one was for 90 plus ticks. And it shot up, literally gapped up in that thin market for 90 ticks. This one was right at the value area high. It was a short, but I took it anyway. And that one was a decent one. This one I caught early, which was good. I think I took it here, took some heat, and then caught it down to here, but then didn't hold it all the way down. This one I wasn't paying attention and missed it. And then this one I got as well. So this a lot of good trades today. Looking for those stacked trades around the value areas as my primary kind of go-to. Let's see. I did notice something else interesting. As soon as I said as soon as I said that about the usually a small one going into a big one, or sorry, a small one before a big one, a small time frame signal before a larger time frame signal here we have a large time frame signal going into a smaller time frame signal, and it went up for a good amount of ticks. So this would have been a great trade. So you caught it here, talking at least 50 ticks. I did notice that there tends to be good trades in the first 15 minutes of a bar. Not all the time. Here, the good trade was at, about at the half hour. But earlier in the day, I was noticing that here, first 15 minutes, this was actually a wick of the POC, so that was kind of a short in the first 15 minutes. This was in the first 15 minutes, this long. This was in the first, just about, kind of in the first 15 minutes. This one was in the first 15 minutes. Just something I'm noticing. Doesn't happen all the time, but it is interesting that that happens. So given that, I've decided to, periodically turn on the record button and see what happens in these first 20 minutes, and maybe we'll get a signal. Maybe we're more likely to get something to show you guys, so you don't have to listen to me talk. But what I'm looking for is just the really obvious trades. So I'm trying to be really patient and remind myself that I don't need to be in a trade all the time. I don't have to predict the market. I just have to wait for the obvious signals. So I'm going to let this play. I'm playing this is live on Thursday the 20, actually we're into Friday now, Friday the 27th. This is live, but it's sim. So I have these sim challenges that I set up for myself whenever I start a new trading strategy like this. I'll try to pass multiple sim challenges and treating them as if they were evals. Getting to $10,000 over trading 5 days minimum, and then no more than $3,000 in a day. And if I lose 4,000, then I have to restart the account. So this is interesting here. We're dropping. So this happens in transition periods sometimes, where the signal is still long, or sorry, the bias is still long. But we're transitioning, possibly. I don't know what's going to happen, but if we're possibly transitioning to a downturn, if this was essentially at the top of the market here, and we're transitioning down, we may get a couple signals down towards the bottom that push back up, but eventually come back down. So even though our signals are long, we have to be extra careful here, because we can't just take every long signal like we could for example, over here, where every single signal on this bar up just continued up. That's easy trading. So we're going to hang out and wait and hope that we get something obvious, and maybe we'll get lucky and it'll happen in the first 15 minutes. But I really wanted to get on this video to explain the long and short, the zero bias hour that we saw over here. But we'll hang out a little bit. I'm curious if folks are trying this. Oh, there's one other thing that I forgot to mention in the last video. I had put up a list of the indicators that were required in order to run this mirror indicator. This is the mirror indicator. This is the only indicator that you need on this chart. These are the other indicators that are required. They're dependencies. And then I forgot to mention this one. So you'll get an error if you don't install this indicator as well. It's really just a styles helper it styles this button. That's all it's doing. Um, but I have posted a link to that as well in the previous video's description, and I'll post it again in this video. So yeah, one more indicator that's required as a dependency just for styles. See if we get something. Here. With no value area levels, no value area high, value area low, or POC, no VWAP, with nothing else to confirm this, it looks good, but I won't take it. I didn't take this signal here either, even though that was turned out to be a banger. Yeah, that was a good one. I am curious if people do do install the indicators and use them. If they could provide some feedback, that'd be super cool, just to see what works for them, how they're using it. I'm mostly trading it on gold. So if you trade it on NQ, if you can let me know what works for you. So this is interesting because we are getting the smaller signal into the larger signal long, but these are really far away. So I would like these to be closer if I was going to take that. So I'm not going to take that, even if it does cross above that 30-minute pattern E signal. This happens, while we're waiting, just a couple of times where, for example, this signal here, this is a pretty good signal down to the VWAP level, but if you look at it, if you, I think in this case I waited for this bar to close, and this was the whole move. This is all I was able to capture. Um, and so I think this was a loser for me. Um, it hit this, or maybe I just exited out at the opposing signal. And I think that's probably it's up to you, obviously, but sometimes you may just want to exit on the next opposing signal. And this would be one of those cases, right, where you took a short signal at the very end of an hour. In the very next hour, you get this long signal. And then there's a couple others. This was a good example. This was an interesting one. So it took this here, got down. I think that was almost like 17 ticks or 20 ticks, but I didn't go to break even. Ended up being a loser. Ended up losing almost 20 ticks there. And then this one was, I was up over, I think I was up 30 ticks. And this one I went to break even. So this was just a break even trade here. So this one I really thought was going to be a good one because it's right at the POC. Oh, shoot. Look at that. We get the small through the large. And of course, I'm not paying attention. Also, look at that gap. This is how the night's been with this super thin market where it's just here's the close and here's the open of the next. Kind of dangerous trading. Yeah, that turned out to be a really good. If this had given me an opportunity to enter with a, start not just gapped completely up there, probably would have taken that. I'm hesitant to take trades after really long, either a really long bar or in this case, a really large gap. And it's clearly reacting to this level, but in the opposite direction. I do like this long. I mean, this is exactly what we're looking for. We're in the first 15 minutes. We got the cluster, but sometimes this is the whole move, right? This whole, essentially the move was from here to here. So yeah, it's 50 ticks, but sometimes 50 ticks is all you get. Oh, here it goes. Yeah, I probably blew that opportunity. Um, that's exactly the type of trade I am looking for. It just the inconsistency and the gapping of the market is making it kind of a challenge, at least for me to feel comfortable entering. Obviously, I like to see smoother transitions, maybe a little time to think. Yeah, that was probably a perfect trade. Okay, we'll see if we get another one in the hour. The next thing I'm going to be looking for is a signal coming near, at or near that POC. But if we don't get one, then you guys can just watch this on 2 times speed. So it almost got to our POC and then wicked down. Just a lot of gapping around. See what happens here. Maybe while we're waiting for that, I'm going to scroll back in time. We can look at some other trades from earlier in the day. Here's a pretty great one, 10-minute going through an hour. These are also amazing, where the bar closes, you're in the middle of a steep drop, the bar closes, comes back up, and just wicks that level. I do like to see those. Would probably take this because it goes through that 15, so you get the stacked 10s plus the 15 and even the 30 there. I'd probably definitely take that. Definitely take this. There's a bunch of really good trades tonight. And then earlier in the day, I would definitely take this short here. I might take this with the 30 there, so I'd probably enter here after it got to that 30 level. So this 1 minute bar right here closed below that 30-minute level. So I might take that one. If you enter on this 15-minute bar here, you have to put your stop back above the highest point within that 15-minute window, which would be back here. So this one has a pretty high, pretty large stop loss. So not great for that one. This one you would put right back above here because you're essentially taking this 10-minute trade, but you're waiting for after it to close below that 15 minutes. So you'd have to put your stop loss back here, but that's much tighter. You're definitely getting, 2 to 3 to 1 there. In something like this, you're getting, uh, you know, 5 to 1, hopefully 20 ticks of stop loss and then 100 ticks of profit. Also, another amazing trade this morning. This this uh, this one right here, I would probably take this down, and then I would wait here. This is a tricky one right here because you might end up taking this and then coming back up and then getting stopped out because you'd put your stop back up here and it would just stop you out, but then you'd have an immediate re-entry for 100 ticks there. See what else we have. Oh, this is a great one right here. Come down here, try to catch it as soon as possible. Try to get as much of that move as possible. And then another great one here. Curious about some of these, like heading longs, but they're below. And this is what I'm hoping you guys can help me with. Is it better to wait for the long that is above the value area high? Or is it okay to take them when they're right below the value area high and take them long through the value area high? This one, actually, this is a good example. This one wicked the PO. This is such a good trade. I would definitely take this. So it hits the POC and you get these signals here and you wicked this 60-minute level. I mean, I would go all in on that one. What is that? It's 10, again, beginning of the hour. Funny how that happens so frequently. So yeah, I think, well, on the next hour, the bias will probably be short. So we might have some more opportunities. Let me see if there's anything else that stands out. I'd probably take this. This would be an interesting one. I wonder if I would take this and then put my stop right here and maybe even get stopped out and have to re-enter. Definitely taking this one. This is a great one. Have to put your stop up pretty high. But you could take it right after the after the wick, after this bar closes, put your stop back up here, and then just try to get 2 to 1. This would be an interesting one because you end up getting quite a few ticks if you can hold on, but there's a lot of movement there. Doesn't make it very easy. So trade management is still trade management. See what's going on back in reality here. Well, I didn't get a chance to enter a trade. I'm going to try to post some more videos, try to get some more live trades, so I can just give you some examples. Obviously, I want to post some examples where I lose as well. So I'll try to get those in as well. But if you guys do have questions or comments, feel free to hit me up either in Discord or in the comments, and I will try to get respond as soon as possible. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next one.